War in Gaza, day 94, and the IDF maneuvers in southern Gaza are continuing to make progress toward remaining Hamas positions in and under Khan Yunis. This as Prime Minister Netanyahu declared that international pressure will not prevent Israel from reaching its goal to destroy Hamas. More from ILTV's Steve Leibovitz.
The IDF says that in the past 24 hours, dozens of Hamas terrorists were killed in clashes in and around Khan Yunis, where Hamas leadership is hiding in underground tunnels and bunkers. Over 100 targets were struck in and around the Hamas stronghold, including weapons caches and terror tunnels. Among those killed was the grandson of Hamas founder Sheikh Yassin. Prime Minister Netanyahu told the cabinet that the war would continue until all of its goals were reached.
לא עוצרים עד שמנצחים. אסור לעצור את המלחמה עד שנשלים את כל יעדיה. חיסול החמאס, החזרת כל חטופינו, והבטחה שעזה לא תהווה עוד איום על ישראל.
Netanyahu insisted that Israel was not yet ready to wind down its war against Hamas, even as international pressure mounts for a shift by Israel to lower-intensity fighting to avoid civilian casualties.
אני אומר זאת הן לאויבינו והן לידידינו. זאת האחריות שלנו וזאת המחויבות של כולנו. צריך להניח בצד כל שיקול אחר ולהמשיך יחד עד לניצחון המוחלט.
This past weekend, the army said that it had completed the dismantlement of Hamas's military framework in the northern Gaza Strip, including Gaza City, and was now shifting attention to taking apart the terrorist group's infrastructure in central and southern Gaza. The IDF has responded to reports of the deaths of two Palestinian journalists working for Al Jazeera in an Israeli airstrike in southern Gaza. The army says the pair were traveling in a vehicle with a terror operative who was operating a drone. A military aircraft identified and struck the target that was operating in a way that put IDF forces at risk.
They deny the kidnapping of our children, the murder of our grandchildren, the rape of our daughters. The new Nazis we face today will stop at nothing to destroy civilization as we know it. The World Jewish Congress was created exactly for these times like this, so every Jew can fall asleep at night knowing they are safe in their own home. We are a voice for the Jewish people everywhere. We are the World Jewish Congress.
And Israel has long maintained that Iran was involved in the October 7th terrorist attack, as well as in funding and supplying Hamas and, of course, Hezbollah's terror activities. And now the IDF has said it has found proof of an underground missile factory linking Iran directly to Hamas. Let's take a look. The IDF cleared for publication on Sunday that its Nahal brigade recently uncovered a precision-guided missile factory in an underground terror tunnel in the Darash Tufah neighborhood in northern Gaza. The underground factory, located in a 100-meter-long tunnel, was being used to improve Hamas's rockets and build precision components. The facility was heavily guarded, and the IDF said that during the raid, soldiers eliminated many terrorists in short-range battles. In addition to the factory, soldiers found vests, weapons parts, explosives, and even an UNRWA membership card. After finding the factory as part of the IDF's intelligence efforts, it said that components were found that prove that Hamas terrorists learned under Iranian guidance how to create and build such precision components and strategic weapons, and gained technological knowledge in the field. The IDF did not divulge the evidence uncovered, but Hebrew media reported the army found Iranian training manuals and other evidence linking the Iranian regime to the site. Israel has long accused Iran of attempting to supply precision missile technology to its terror proxy group Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, with this finding, it has discovered Iran was attempting to supply the technology to Hamas as well. And in other news, Israel is set to square off in a legal case against South Africa at the International Court of Justice later this week. Israel has tapped a prominent former Israeli Supreme Court justice to stand in as its judicial representative. Let's take a look. Former Supreme Court Chief Justice Aaron Barak will be Israel's representative as a judge at the International Court of Justice hearing at The Hague, set to take place on Thursday and Friday this week.
Barak will serve as the 16th judge, joining a 15-judge panel. According to the ICJ, any country facing charges can appoint its own judge to sit in on the case. South Africa has filed a complaint against Israel at the International Court, seeking to declare that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. It also seeks an immediate injunction to cease military operations in the Gaza Strip. Israel denies the claim and is expected to argue that it is Hamas which is guilty of genocide after the terror group's repeated calls for Israel's destruction and launching the October 7th terror attack, which left over 1,200 Israelis dead and over 200 taken hostage into Gaza. Israel has yet to announce its legal team, which can constitute up to 4 attorneys. So far, it has named one attorney, British lawyer Professor Malcolm Shaw, a leading international legal expert. The choice of Barak, who is a champion of the Supreme Court rights and activism, as the pick for Israel's judge has raised eyebrows, as he was a major and outspoken figure in opposing the government's judicial reform in the months leading up to October 7th.
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple. And joining us now with more on the International Court of Justice hearing set to take place later this week is founder and president of the Shurat Hadin Law Center, Nitzana Darshan-Leitner. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with this case. Of course, a ludicrous accusation. Why is Israel going along with it? Why has it decided to appear in court?
Israel is a signatory to the Convention to stop genocide, or to prevent genocide. And as a signatory, she has an obligation to participate in any dispute over this convention. The one that is the arbitration for any dispute of this convention is the International Court for Justice in Europe. Therefore, when South Africa brought a lawsuit against Israel for breaching the Convention to prevent genocide, Israel doesn't really have a choice if she wants to stay and to honor the convention that she signed, but to go and to reply to the allegations brought by South Africa in the International Court for Justice.
And will Israel be able to get a fair trial?
Look, on one hand, we would say Israel just simply could ignore the proceeding and goes on, and whatever the court decides this time. But Israel made a calculation that in this specific case, perhaps she has a chance to win the trial, meaning that she believes by reading the complaint that the allegations there are baseless, not only in fact that Israel does not commit genocide in Gaza, the opposite. Israel tries to protect the life of the citizens in Gaza. Israel does anything they can in order to prevent any harm from the population, but what can you do when Hamas using this population as human shields and surround himself with women and children, and therefore if they are getting harmed inevitably. But the basis for this complaint are actually stays of politicians, of reporters, of commentators on the Israeli TV, and this is not a lawsuit. This is not how you base a lawsuit. So Israel believes that perhaps this is an opportunity to win. Like if you would imagine any case would be filed against Israel, this would be the case to win. I'm just afraid that the court may, say that Israel did not commit genocide in Gaza. However, they do commit other crimes, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and others. It's not on the question. It's not what the court has to rule about, but the court can say anything in their opinion. And this could be a fear that Israel should take into consideration.
And now Aaron Barak will be the Israeli judge, a very unusual choice given he was on the opposing end of the government's legal reform this past year. Is this perhaps a message of unity from Netanyahu? I mean, what do you make of this choice?
Look, as a legal expert, I can tell you that this is the most natural choice. Aaron Barak is an expert in international law. He wrote very significant judgments in Israel regarding the international law. And he's a scholar. He's very, very respected in Europe and United States. He's very, very well known. He's one of the major jurists in Israel, and he is the right choice professionally to represent Israel, not to represent Israel, but to be on the Israeli side as a judge in this chamber. Politically, there is a issue between Netanyahu to Aaron Barak, between Netanyahu and the rest of the judges in the Supreme Court, between Netanyahu and the legal system, between the government and the Supreme Court. But I want to believe and I want to trust Aaron Barak, and I don't see a reason why not, that when he goes and represents the Israeli interests, there will be no political disputes in his eyes. He will go and do his job the best way he can. And Israel will have to thank him for representing us with pride and honor. And he will be thanking Israel for trusting him, despite the fact that he was in the opposing side, trusting him to go and work and save Israel in this so severe situation.
All right, Nitzana Darshan-Leitner, thank you for your analysis and for joining us today.
My pleasure, and let's us wish luck to Israel in this proceeding.
And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is due to arrive in Israel this evening on his 5th visit to the country since the start of the war on October 7th. He arrives from Qatar, which is still trying to mediate a new agreement between Israel and Hamas for additional hostage releases in exchange for another pause in fighting. More on this from ILTV's William Sharon.
U.S. Secretary Blinken arrives in Israel after first visiting several key regional actors. Most notably, Blinken was in Qatar for talks with its prime minister. On its trip, Blinken says he's focused on preventing the conflict from spreading.
It's now, as you said, been 3 months since those attacks, and this is a moment of profound tension in the region. This is a conflict that could easily metastasize, causing even more insecurity and even more suffering. So from day one, among other priorities, we have been intensely focused on working to prevent the conflict from spreading.
Blinken expressed the U.S. view that Israel would soon be moving into a lower intensity warfare in Gaza that would eventually allow its civilians to return home to northern Gaza.
As Israel moves to a lower intensity phase of its military operation in the north, the United Nations can also play a crucial role in evaluating what needs to be done to allow displaced Palestinians to return home. Palestinian civilians must be able to return home as soon as conditions allow. They cannot, they must not be pressed to leave Gaza.
The Qataris are saying the assassination of Hamas deputy commander al-Arouri in Beirut last week has affected Doha's ability to mediate between the terror group and Israel over the release of hostages and ceasefire efforts. Blinken said that the issue is a U.S. priority.
To those still being held hostage, to their loved ones, to their families, I promise you this: the United States will continue to work relentlessly to bring you home, to get you together with your family and loved ones.
Ahead of Blinken's visit, former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is in Israel for a solidarity visit.
This is a moment where the United States of America needs to send a clear and unambiguous message that America will stand with Israel today, we will stand with Israel tomorrow and every day until the threat of Hamas is destroyed once and for all, and peace and security can be reestablished for the people of Israel.
And in the north, the IDF confirmed Monday that Hezbollah rocket fire damaged the Mount Maron air traffic control base near the Lebanese border. The site is fully operational but running on backup systems. The IDF retaliated fiercely to the latest Hezbollah escalation, killing a senior Hezbollah leader. More from ILTV's Steve Leibovitz.
The Army confirmed that the radar domes on the Mount Meron air traffic control base were hit by missiles fired by Hezbollah on Saturday. The IDF said that the facility is now fully operational and working on backup systems. The IDF did not elaborate on the damage to the base, but according to footage published by the terror group, 2 radar domes were hit by anti-tank guided missiles. Hezbollah had fired a barrage of more than 40 rockets and several missiles at the base atop Mount Meron, which is located some 8 kilometers from the Lebanese border. Hezbollah said that the escalation was a response to the alleged Israeli killing of Hamas terror chief Salah al-Arouri in Lebanon last week. The IDF is investigating the incident in order to prevent similar attacks on the sensitive base in the future. In response to the attack, the IDF said it had carried out several waves of strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, including 2 significant military compounds belonging to the terror group. IDF Chief of Staff Halevi said that the military is exacting increasingly heavy prices from Hezbollah as it continued to carry out attacks on northern Israel. Halevi also said that the IDF has the responsibility of returning Israel's displaced northern residents to their homes, and this would come through either military pressure on Hezbollah or we will end up with another war.
And while around the world children enjoy the wonderful experience of summer camp, Israeli President Yitzhak Herzog has revealed that Hamas's summer camp programs look a little bit different, grooming young children to become jihadi terrorists. Let's take a look. Israeli President Yitzhak Herzog on Sunday night unveiled an internal Hamas memo detailing how the terror organization exploits summer camp programs to brainwash children and train them to be jihadists. He presented the document during an interview with NBC's Meet the Press.
Let me show you a document, a highly confidential, strictly confidential document, which we just unraveled from the Hamas headquarters. It's a brochure, which is a directive by the commanders of Hamas as to how to manage summer camps for children in order to disseminate the values of jihad. It says it clearly, to disseminate the values of jihad and the values of the resistance, meaning terror, and how to make it a militarized society. And it's all over the Gaza Strip, meaning they take the kids, whilst we all know what summer camps are and what they're aimed for and what a wonderful experience it is to enable youngsters, kids and adults, adolescents to become citizens of the free world with liberties, with happiness, with joy, with sports. Here, the entire aim is to make them terrorists.
The document was issued in July 2023 by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades and outlines its methods for grooming children, including in the use of firearms, conducting simulations, and theoretical courses, all aimed at preparing the next generation to serve in the terror organization. And now, October 7th and the war have seen over 130,000 Israelis displaced. If you head to the south along the once thriving Gaza border communities or to the north along the border with Lebanon, what you'll see today are dogs roaming the streets, stray cats among ruins, chicken coops hit by missile fire. Yes, pets and animals have also been affected by the war. And joining us now in the studio is Yael Alkin, CEO of Tnu L'Chayot Lichyot, or Let the Animals Live, a nonprofit organization aiding animals in the conflict zone. Yael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So what can you tell us about the state of pets, of animals, following the October 7th massacre?
So first, we started in the south part of Israel. Now we are also in the north part of Israel, but at the beginning there was a big mess. Lots of animals that belonged to people that were kidnapped or running away or whatever, were still there. And we had to take them from this place and find them foster homes till their owners will come back. And lots of cats that we couldn't take because cats are difficult to handle. So we started immediately at about the 9th of October to bring food to those zones and feed those animals till we find them solutions. And the dogs that we find, most of them were microchipped at the beginning, okay? So we knew who the owners are, but most of the owners couldn't take them because they had no home. So we found them. We had about 1,500 foster homes that were registered in a big list, So we found a dog. We called people, listen, we have a dog here. We must find him a solution for, by the way, some of them are still in the foster homes, because
So how many animals have you?
Hundreds of cats and dogs. And some didn't want to take them back because they have no home and they didn't even want a foster home. They just said, find them a new home. Cats, the ones that were left there, the ones that were fed on the streets, are still being fed now, But the ones that were at home, we were looking for them because the people that owned them couldn't come to these places. And they asked us, listen, in this area, I have a cat. It looks like this. Please find him. And we found some of them, not all of them, I must say. Some were killed, also the dogs. Some were killed too. But we find them and we bring them to their homes. Last week, we found a cat that was 3 months missing. And we found his owner were murdered, but we bring it to one of the sons of this lady that was murdered. And there are very sad stories there, but there are some happy stories, that you find the animals and you can find them a solution till their owners will come back home.
And so, if our viewers, both here in Israel and our viewers watching abroad, want to help the animals, how can they help?
So now we are not looking anymore for foster homes because most of the dogs are the ones that are left in our place are okay. But we want to find home for the others, because south part of Israel is known to be the most place that there are so many dogs, about 20,000 dogs are roamed in the south part of Israel. And we take them from there. Soldiers are calling us all the time. Listen, I find the puppy here. Listen, I find the dog here. And there are dogs coming from Gaza. So all the area is full with dogs. And we are trying to help and find them home. And it's very difficult because people don't come to adopt. And that's what we need. People to come and adopt those animals and for life, not just for fostering.
Absolutely. Yael, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and for coming into the studio today.
Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg, editor of All Israel News. Sign up for our free daily email for the latest news from Jerusalem. Go to allisrael.com.
And now, let's take a look at the weather forecast. Mostly cloudy skies are expected tonight, featuring temperatures at lows of around 11 degrees Celsius or 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Then tomorrow, partly cloudy skies and steady rising temperatures set to reach highs of 20 degrees Celsius or 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's all for today's news. For more updates from Israel on all your devices, check out our ILTV channel, subscribe to our ILTV newsletter, and don't forget to check out our new and improved website, iltv.tv, with all the latest news from the heart of the State of Israel. I'm Ladar Gaveh-Lazi. Be well, stay safe, and thank you so much for watching.